I get constipation, I take in lots of fruits. Mine is pineapple, and it always works for me.
When constipated, I just take in warm water, or sometimes I purge.
When I get constipation, all I do is I take in lots of water, and it really does work for me. Just water is fine, nothing else.
I take in a purgative when constipated. When I get constipated, I take in about 2 or 3 oranges, and by the following day, I will be free. For me, I use purgative.
I just drink a lot of water most of the time, and it works. It's always worked.
How sure are we of all these methods and self-remedies? Surely, doctor's input will be perfect as the expert takes us through the A to Z of constipation. Coming up is the health segment with Dr. Edwina Ado Opariloko.
All right, she joins me now. Okay, Doc, good morning.
Good morning, Emma.
Okay, so I said constipation, for the most part, it can be quite, well, not only annoying, but it's, are there any sort of serious health implications for not going to the toilet?
Yes, so basically what happens is that your body is all about keeping balance. What you eat, it takes what it needs, and the rest must come out, okay? Mm-hmm. And in cleansing your bowels, so as you move your bowels, you take out toxins, you take out unnecessary products that would otherwise cause problems for you in the long term. Mm-hmm. So having regular bowel movements are important to your long-term health, okay? We know that having people who don't have regular bowel movements are more likely to get things like colon cancers, etc. So we like to have you move your bowels as often as possible. Now, here in Ghana, I found that people are very fixated on bowel movements. So
it's important.
It's very important. Everybody has a different rhythm, you see. So some of us go once or twice every day, and some of us go once every other day, and some of us go once a week. Now, when it comes to what is constipation, I would say that it's any change in your bowel habits, your natural bowel habits, that will cause certain symptoms, okay? Either in the short term or the long term. So we have things like constipation that happens very suddenly. You're unable to move your bowel. It's associated with abdominal bloating, you are vomiting, maybe you are passing, you see blood, or you have a fever. Those ones are danger signs. That's an acute constipation that we need to work on.
Okay.
That may need surgical intervention. Things like typhoid, for instance, actually cause constipation. It's so we have what we have in the first week. You may have constipation, and the next week you have diarrhea, and then you start getting really sick. Okay, so that's one of the things that we are concerned about. Then intestinal obstruction. You've got something blocking your passage of stool through your intestines. So then it can happen suddenly, or it can happen over a long term, and then you still have this abdominal bloating, etc. But then we have the regular constipation. So chronic constipation, that's when you have problems with your defecatory habits or the frequency of your stool, or the texture of your stool. So if you have any two of maybe hard lumpy stools, having less than 3 bowel movements a week, straining every time you have to go to the toilet, you spend a lot of time pushing. But
and it's painful.
Yes, and it's painful, and sometimes you may actually have to do intervention, put your finger in there and help it come out.
Ew.
When you have any of those,
really? Are you supposed to wear a glove? Or you?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes if you're, so you're there and it's you can feel it over there. You can feel the tip of it, but it's so hard
so
that you can't do much about it. You have to help it out So you may have to if you do that, then you definitely have a problem of constipation, especially if over a cumulative period of about 12 weeks it's been going on and off.
Okay.
Then you know you have a chronic constipation habit.
All right, Doc. Is when it comes to our term regular constipation that most people tend to have, is it usually a dietary thing?
Okay, it has a lot to do with what you eat. Okay, so people who don't eat a lot of fiber, so that's the fiber you find in vegetables and fruits, and eat a lot of white rice, white flour, etc., they would have problems with their bowels. Those things are constipatory. So fiber, you have the soluble type, you have the insoluble type. What it does is add bulk to your food, makes you feel full, and makes you drink a lot of water. And as it's moving along your bowel, the food, etc., it's moving along the bowel, and your body is pulling things, the nutrients from it, takes excess water from it, and it forms. Okay, so
that's how you get soft stools.
Soft stools, or the longer it stays in your bowel, the drier it becomes.
Oh.
Okay, so if you drink a lot of water, it makes the stool a little softer. If you have a lot of fiber, it also makes the stool a little softer. However, if you take a lot of fiber without drinking a lot of water, you're going to have constipation.
So if you're going to be taking fiber supplements, you're not drinking water, it's just useless.
Yes, it's actually, you're going to make your problem worse. You have bloating, burping, gassing, all kinds of uncomfortable things. So you want to drink a lot of water. If you take fiber supplements, you want to take a full glass of water with your fiber supplements. And in a day, you want to drink about 3 liters, 2.5 to 3 liters of water in a day. Get that all down. Now, how do you get fiber into your body? Either you take the fiber supplements like we've talked about, or you take fruits and vegetables, lots of fruits and vegetables. Now, standard Ghanaian diet, if you ask any Ghanaian, what did you have for breakfast? Cocoa, kenke. You don't hear iwache. At least wache has a saving grace of beans. Okay? You don't hear about the vegetable part. And that's where we are lacking. Lunch, what did you have? Rice and stew. Lots of rice.
And it's usually white rice, not brown rice.
White rice. It's a whole mountain of white rice. Fufu and soup.
And that's very starchy.
So then here we have a lot of starch. The cereals may contain some fiber, but we don't have that much. We need about 30 grams of fiber in a day to get things.
How do we measure 30 grams of fiber?
That's a different. It's a little difficult, but say if you get about 4 to 6 servings of raw cooked vegetables, that maybe if it's raw, it's like a cup or two of the raw vegetables, or half a cup of a cooked vegetable. That would give you, if you have 4 to 6 servings of that, may give you close to 15 or so.
Okay.
The more vegetables you eat, the more fruits you eat, the more fiber you get. Now, eating fruits is not about drinking fruit juice and saying that I'm drinking fruit juice, therefore I'm getting a lot of fiber. Not all fruit juices contain the pulp. Now you get the fiber from the pulp of the fruit. So like oranges, we tend to suck oranges here in Ghana. We squeeze all the juice out, but the fiber is in the pulp. So you want to eat a whole fruit. And
you're supposed to swallow it.
Yes, and swallow it, not spit it out. We like to chew it and then spit it out.
But I do.
Eat the whole orange without the seeds, I beg. All right. Okay. Eat a lot of bananas. Eat a variety of the fruits, because each fruit has different quantities of fiber, and each color of vegetable, each color of fruit gives you different nutrients in addition. So if you have an array of things, you've eaten your breakfast, maybe have a carrot or 2, okay, or some cucumber, or maybe make a little salad with it. Then have fruit for your snack. So a couple of bananas, a handful of granuts, you're gone. Have lunch and eat. Maybe try and get some brown rices into your
unpolished
rice.
rice.
I know, unpolished rice, whole wheat bread, brown bread, bran, oats. Actually, oats is a wonderful.
For breakfast.
For breakfast, it's a wonderful loaded fiber-loaded meal. You need that in your life. I mean, a couple of times a week, have some oats. And then, what else can I add? Supper, right? Still have something with a fruit or vegetable added to it. That helps you move your bowels. Now, when I talk about, even if you're looking at your plate, say you have a regular plate, typical Ghanaian diet, we have half the plate full of kabo. So your fufu, your rice is a mound, but you want to maybe have half your plate being your vegetables. So your apim and your contomere. Your contomere should outweigh the apim.
Okay. What about things? I heard about okra too.
And okra too. So you have a lot of okra and maybe just small bun.
Not the other way around.
Not the other way around. Or when you make your light soup, I know some people when they make the light soup, they strain out they blend the vegetables and then sieve it, and so you have all the pulp being wasted. But you want to make that soup as vegetable rich and thick with fiber. So not too thick, because not everybody likes thick soup. I like my soup thick, but when you blend it, leave the pulp in there. Maybe add more water, but don't sieve it out, because that gives you more fiber. And then just the size, your fist. Everybody's fist is different, so try that. And exercise.
Okay, I want to talk about babies, for example.
Yeah.
If a baby constipates, is it actually dangerous? Because I know babies are supposed to have a regular bowel movement because they're usually feeding a lot. But if a baby hasn't gone for a couple of days, is that cause for concern?
Okay, so let me start from the newborn. Now, we expect that within 24 to 48 hours of the baby's birth, they must have passed
that blackish
greenish thing.
Yeah.
So when you don't pass that after 24 to 48 hours, you need to know whether they have congenital problems. So birth defects, maybe there's the anus is blocked altogether, so you have to open it up, or they may have a problem with their with the nerve system in the intestine, so it's not working well. It's called Hirschsprung's disease. They'll pass through eventually, but it may take maybe a week, one day. They may have movements like once a week or something. But those things we need to look at. Once it happens to your newborn baby, then you need to look at it. Now, if it's a baby who's been born and has started regular breastfeeds and has been moving their bowel fairly regular, and suddenly it doesn't, maybe that's because you changed something. So, for example, a baby who's had breastfeeds and is being moved to formula. Formula has more what's it called? It's a casein or whey. I always get it. It's the cow's milk is not the same as breast milk, and so it's thicker. And if you don't dilute it well, and it's too thick, then they concentrate. I told you that when you move, as the food moves through your bowel, it absorbs more water. The longer it stays, the more water it absorbs. So now you're absorbing a lot more water. The stool becomes hard. And if it's difficult for me and you to pass hard stool, imagine what the baby would be going through. So yes, you would like to have make sure that happens. Now, I know babies who move their bowels maybe once or twice, not like every time they eat. Okay, some people do that, and some babies do that. Every time they eat, it's automatically within 30 minutes they are moving. Okay, it's called the gastrocolic reflex. Okay, some babies don't do that. Some babies would move their bowels like once a day. That's them. So once you've established that's how they are,
that is their norm, and it should pretty much be that norm. If anything drastic happens,
exactly.
But how would you treat a baby with constipation?
So, well, for that I will actually say that let's bring him to the hospital and let's talk about it. If you've changed the diet, for example, maybe check the instructions on your formula label, see whether you have to add more water, or maybe have to reduce the amount of formula. I mean, you have to check that one out. If you've moved a baby from breast, it's weaning, okay, and they're moving on to solid foods, then they will have a change in bowel habits. So if within a week or so they are not moving their bowels, you can see that they are maybe less than a week, maybe 3 or 4 days. You've got abdominal distension, the tummy is big, and they're not even passing flatus, then you really need to bring them in.
Okay, Doc, I know when it comes to diet, just going back to diet, there are some families who pretty much eat very similar things. So maybe for breakfast they all eat similar things, for lunch similar things, certainly for dinner. But yet within the same family, they'll have different bowel habits. Is that normal? If we're eating the same food pretty much, but yet one person is going once or twice a day, the other person is going maybe once every 3-4 days or once a week?
Yeah, I mean, you are an individual. Each of us has our own genetic makeup. Even though we are related by blood, we all have a different makeup. So what works for me may not necessarily work the same way for you, and that's how we are. So if you're all eating the same thing and this person is moving once, maybe they're not drinking the same amount of water and they're not exercising the same way. Maybe one person in the family is always sitting and the other person is walking about all the time. Those are other factors that move your bowel. So diet, water, exercise. The more you exercise, you're more likely, it helps move things along. Everything is moving, so your bowel is moving as well. So I wouldn't worry overly if there are several people in the family who are eating the same thing. Some people are moving every day and others are moving every other day. But if you have at least 3 bowel movements in a week, still consistency is soft to firm. You are not straining, you are not pushing unnecessarily, you do not have to put your finger in all the time, then then I'm okay with you. I am okay with you.
Okay. All right. Sandra's standing by for some interactive messages. So we'll come back to this conversation in just a minute. So Sandra, how is your bowel movement? Good, I hope.
I have my moments, let's just leave it at that. Very interesting discussion you've got going on there, and it seems a lot of people can relate to it, judging from the comments that we have coming in on our social media pages. On Facebook, I have Abdullah Abdul Razak, and he says regular exercising of the body, drinking a lot of water, and also taking fruits will help prevent constipation. All the things that the doctor there has told us this morning. Also, I have David Abba, and he says, okay, he laughs. Ha 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 ha. What I do first of all is drink plenty of water, and afterwards eating orange. That's the natural way I treat constipation. Also a very good way, as we've heard this morning. I have David Boating, and David says drink a lot of water. Water will ease out your intestines and help them clear out, or make sure you include lots of fiber in your diet. Fiber helps the digestive system run and is the known best constipation stopper. Yes, a lot of fiber is very good, just like the doctors told us this morning. So it looks like all our comments are on point this morning. I have Abdullah Razak, I think I already read that, so I'll move on now to our Twitter feed, and I have a few more comments over there. Judith Ejenim Boating says, I take in more water and fruits. Okay, that's also a very good way to do it. Isaac Yao Kese, and Isaac says just order for beans and gari from Odasco. Oh, one of my personal favorites, without the gari of course. I just do the plantain and the beans. I need to find out where Odasco is though. Seems they have good gari and beans over there. And the final one is from Michael Sterling Aka, and he says, when you bite like Suarez, you become constipation free. Ask doctors. Okay, I don't know about that. Very mischievous one there. I don't know how biting can relieve you. Okay, that's about it for our social media pages. Keep the comments coming in, and I believe you still have a few more questions for your guest in the studio.
All right, thank you very much, Sandra. All right, so I know when it comes to constipation, one thing which most of us grew up with, Doc, is bentwa, an enema. When you're young, your mother or your grandmother will ombesao. You know what I mean? Is that a viable option for constipation?
Yes. So yes, enemas help to relieve constipation. Fortunately, I escaped that bentwa business.
Lucky you.
I've heard a lot about the pepper bentwa and the ginger one, etc.
I think I had water. My grandma would give me water, and then the ginger one. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the ginger one. Hated it, but it'll make me go.
It'll make you go. So it kind of like irritates your thing, and also lubricates. So maybe if the problem is that it's dry, it kind of like gives you makes it a little softer, so that you can All right. So yes, enemas work. Sometimes when you've got someone who's like and the elderly people, they tend to have more problems with constipation over time. They are not exercising as much as they used to, and the transit time through the intestines may be a little longer, so then they have more problems. So sometimes when they do those things, it helps. Okay, but I wouldn't want you to do a salt water enema.
People do salt water. I didn't.
All kinds of preparations. So there's something that's sodium phosphate.
Sodium phosphate is good.
Sodium phosphate. You wouldn't want to do it more than once a week. Because it contains a lot of sodium. Now it could cause an imbalance in your body.
Okay.
So plain water, warm, not hot. You don't want to go burning things. No. So warm water once in a while when it's really difficult is good. Now. The other things people do, like,
I know some people mix all sorts of herbal preparations and stuff.
No.
What do you think about that? Is that good to do
for the enema or for purging?
Both.
Okay.
I guess for both.
So some of the herbs are irritating. Okay, so then they'll cause you to go. Now, when it comes to laxatives like mixtures that people take to purge, now you have to be a little careful with what you do. If you take chronic laxatives, it actually causes every day you are taking laxatives to go. Your body becomes used to it, and then you need higher and higher doses. Without it, you're not going to poop. You really want to avoid that. Okay. Sometimes what happens is that you haven't pooped in a while. You take these purgatives, laxatives or mixtures, and then you end up with a very, very, very bad diarrhea. Okay, and so you need to learn how to balance it. If you haven't gone for a while, maybe come check with us. What is it? Because you can cause all kinds of other problems for yourself. So if it's gone on, if it's a habit that's, if it's something that we can work with you on your diet and exercise and water, that is good. But if not, we may have to work some things out. Because some people have what we call the irritable bowel syndrome. So you have diarrhea sometimes, you have constipation, and it gets worse with stress. You get bloated, you get gas, and if it's like that, you have cycles, it's alternating, and whenever you are stressed and you have one symptom or the other, maybe you need to come to us and we'll talk about what's going on.
Okay, almost out of time on this stuff, but I know there's some people too who take these herbal teas, and some of the herbal teas are supposed to make you go, but they still act like a laxative. So again, is it advisable to be taking these things every day because it says it's tea that will help you go?
Well, so any product says that it's going to help you go. Maybe the herbal teas, herbs are medication. So too much of everything, I would say too much of everything is bad. Everything in moderation. So now let's look at what's in there and what it says. Now, I'm not into, I don't know much about Chinese medicine, but some of their things are very safe. And they've had a long practice with it. Now, if somebody who's well versed and it tells you that you can take it every day and it has no evil effects on your body, I have no problem with it. I don't know too much about it, so I won't go putting my nose out. But drinking a lot of water is good. Eating a lot of fruits and vegetables, great. Add exercise. You are probably on your way to solving your problem.
All right, thank you so much. I want to say a big thank you to Dr. Edwina Opari Loco, who's a doctor, and she's been talking to us about constipation. Of course, the health segment is brought to you by Lipton Tea, the world's #1 tea brand.